River and stream flooding has a dramatic and immediate effect on so many communities around the country. The dangers of flooding are obvious, and yet residents often fail to respond to National Weather Service flood forecasts and warnings. Hi, I am Rachel Hogan-Carr, Executive Director of Nurture Nature Center in Easton, Pennsylvania. Our research team wanted to know which strategies the National Weather Service could use to improve its flood forecast and warning products, to make them easier to understand and more likely to motivate people to take action.
With river flooding, we want people to take the right action. They have to believe and understand the forecast and the warning about river flooding.
Well, river flooding means water is exceeding the capacity of the channel in the river, and the water is rising to a level where it flows out of the channel into the surrounding floodplain and causes damage. It impacts people and structures in the floodplain.
Our role as emergency management is to take some very complicated information and make it understandable and local so that the residents can take the appropriate actions.
So when we do river flood warnings now, we want to make sure they have plenty of lead time, and we try to convey the information in ways that people can really use the information.
Nurture Nature Center is a nonprofit organization with a focus on flood risk issues. We undertook this social science research study with partners from East Carolina University and RMC Research Corporation. Our research team conducted a series of focus groups and surveys with flood-affected residents in Easton, Pennsylvania and Lambertville, New Jersey. During the 2-hour focus group sessions, participants were presented with a 7-day hurricane scenario based on the 1955 flood of record here in the Delaware River Basin. Participants were presented with a series of National Weather Service flood forecast and warning products, including the hydrograph, flood watches and warnings, flood inundation maps, and importantly, new ensemble forecasts.
Something that's become very popular within the last 5 to 8 years is something called a hydrograph, which is a graph that kind of shows both where the river is and where it's going to go in terms of how high it's going to get. It's a picture, and it really does say 1,000 words about river flooding.
Participants gave us detailed feedback about each of these products, describing how the timing, graphic clarity, and use of language in the products influenced their decision-making and ability to understand what they were being told. Based on feedback from the focus group participants, our research team made a series of modifications to the products.
They found some of the graphics difficult to understand. The graphics were revised with titles and labeling that was more easily understood. Color played an important role in the understanding, so colors and patterns were adapted so that viewers could easily recognize important messages and important information.
In addition to sharing findings with National Weather Service and other professional audiences, Nurture Nature Center has created a series of materials for outreach and public education.
As a result of this study, a number of improvements have been made to the various tools that are available to us as emergency managers and also available to the public to make them easier to read and understand and therefore more valuable.
The Nurture Nature social science study has really helped us see how we can use feedback from the public in a more effective way. It showed that scenario-based focus groups can be really an effective way of doing outreach to the public, that the public really engages better when they're working through an actual storm scenario. And this is one thing that can be replicated by other National Weather Service offices, by emergency managers, and can really be used as an effective tool for educating the public and for encouraging the public to prepare for flooding.
In the future, we'll be using the recommendations on river flooding from the Nurture Nature Center, not just for the products that they specified, but also in general as best practices. So when we're putting together a briefing package for an upcoming river flooding event, we will also think about best ways to convey that information. What are the public looking for? What's the best way to convey the threat of river flooding, and how quickly do they need to know that information so they can make the decisions they need to do.
The results of this study contain actionable recommendations for the National Weather Service as well as emergency managers. More information and detailed findings from our study are available in our final report located on our website.